Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The claws are coming out on Bold and the Beautiful. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline McKinswood, will lay down the law and mark her territory. Dr. John Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, had no idea the war he was going to start when he told his wife the truth about Hope Logan, Annika Noel, kissing him. Here's what's coming up next on The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers ahead. After learning all about their kiss, Steffy Forrester will make a beeline to confront Hope Logan this week. Spoilers hint a fierce confrontation between the two rivalries on the CBS soap. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Steffy Forrester's revenge plans. By the end of this week, Steffy Forrester and Hope Logan's war will have snowballed, and the daughters' mothers will complicate matters even further. According to B&B spoilers, Hope might have to hit the unemployment line. A popular theory among soap fans is that Steffy's revenge will include firing Hope and axing Hope for the future at Forrester Creations. We love a good old-fashioned cat fight on The Bold and the Beautiful, and spoilers hint that's exactly what we will get when Steffy and Hope's mothers get involved. Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, is set to make her big return, and will pop up right in the midst of Steffy's drama. Once Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, learns that Taylor is back in town, it won't be long before the former foes bump heads again. The Bold and the Beautiful previews reveal that by the end of this week, Steffy, Hope, Taylor, and Brooke could come to physical blows. Meanwhile, Steffy will also reportedly be fighting her own personal battles at home, and her marriage could suffer. Despite Finn's honest A policy and coming clean about the kiss, his wife will feel like there's more to the story, and he's protecting home-wrecking Hope. It was a morning like any other at Forrester Creations, but an uneasy tension lingered in the air, a silent promise of impending chaos. The mahogany walls of the executive suite seemed to pulse with the whispers of secrets, grudges, and barely restrained fury. In the fashion world, competition was fierce, but here it was downright feral. Brooke Logan, the ever-glamorous matriarch, stood before her vanity mirror, adjusting the collar of her perfectly tailored blouse. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, caught her reflection with a fleeting sense of satisfaction. But beneath her polished exterior, Brooke was simmering with resentment. She had fought tooth and nail for her place at the top, and she wasn't about to let anyone, especially Taylor Hayes, undermine her authority. Taylor, the graceful yet formidable psychiatrist, had recently returned to Los Angeles with a renewed sense of purpose. Her break from the city had done little to dull her fiery spirit. If anything, it had sharpened her resolve. The years of conflict between her and Brooke had ebbed and flowed, but the underlying tension was ever present. Taylor's love for Ridge Forrester, the man they had both shared and fought over for decades, had always been the source of their rivalry. But this time, it wasn't just about Ridge. It was about reclaiming her place, her power, and her dignity. The door to the executive suite swung open with a force that made the hinges creak. Brooke turned sharply, her lips parting in a thin smile as Taylor entered the room. The air seemed to crackle with the electricity of their shared history. Each step Taylor took toward Brooke was deliberate, echoing with unspoken challenges. Taylor, Brooke greeted her, voice as smooth as silk, but with an edge as sharp as a knife. Brooke, Taylor replied, her tone calm, but with an undercurrent of steel. We need to talk. Brooke arched an eyebrow. About what this time? Ridge, the company? Or are you here to psychoanalyze me again? Taylor's lips twitched into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I'm here to set things straight. You've been using your influence over Ridge to push me out of his life, out of this company. But that's not going to happen. Brooke's smile faded, replaced by a glare that could cut glass. You think I'm pushing you out? Taylor, you've never been able to accept that Ridge chose me, time and time again. Maybe it's time you stop living in the past and face reality. Reality. Taylor's voice rose, her control slipping as the claws began to show. The reality is that you've manipulated everyone around you, including Ridge, for years. But I'm not going to let you get away with it anymore. Brooke's eyes flashed with anger, and she took a step closer, invading Taylor's space. And what exactly are you planning to do about it, Taylor? You think you can just waltz back into town and take over? You're living in a fantasy. Don't underestimate me, Brooke, Taylor warned, her voice low and dangerous. I'm not the same woman I was before. I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm not afraid to fight for what I want. The tension between them was palpable, a ticking time bomb ready to explode. Both women were seasoned fighters in the game of love and power, and neither was willing to back down. Their shared history of betrayal, heartbreak, and manipulation had shaped them into the fierce adversaries they were today. As if on cue, the door opened again, and Ridge Forrester himself walked in, oblivious to the storm brewing in his office. His presence, usually commanding, seemed almost subdued as he sensed the icy atmosphere between the two women he loved. "Am I interrupting something?" Ridge asked, his voice hesitant as he glanced between Brooke and Taylor. "Not at all," Brooke replied, her voice dripping with sweetness that belied the venom underneath. "Taylor and I were just catching up." Taylor crossed her arms, her gaze never leaving Brooke's. "Ridge, we need to talk. Alone." Brooke's eyes narrowed, but before she could protest, Ridge held up a hand. "Taylor, whatever you need to say, you can say it in front of Brooke. We're all adults here." "Are we?" Taylor challenged, her gaze piercing Ridge's. "Because it feels like we've been playing the same games for decades." Ridge sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Taylor, this isn't the time." "Yes, it is," Taylor interrupted, her voice firm. "I'm tired of this back and forth, Ridge. You need to decide, once and for all, what you want. I won't be strung along any longer." Brooke's lips curled into a smug smile. "Taylor, you're embarrassing yourself. Ridge and I." "Enough, Brooke," Taylor snapped, her patience finally snapping. "This isn't about you. It's about Ridge and what he wants. But you've always made everything about you, haven't you? You've played the victim, the seductress, the martyr, whatever it took to keep Ridge by your side." "How dare you?" Brooke hissed, her anger flaring. "I've done everything for this family, for this company, for Ridge. You're just bitter because you lost." "Lost?" Taylor laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "The only thing I lost was my naivety. I've been through hell, Brooke, and I've come out stronger. You, on the other hand, are still playing the same old games. But this time, I'm not playing along." Ridge stepped between them, his expression pained. "Stop it, both of you. This isn't solving anything." "Then what will, Ridge?" Taylor demanded, her eyes blazing. "You need to choose. You can't keep us both in your life like this. It's not fair to any of us." Brooke's heart pounded in her chest, her mind racing with thoughts of losing Ridge, of losing everything she had fought so hard to keep. But she wasn't about to let Taylor win. Not now, not ever. "Ridge," Brooke said softly, her voice a mix of pleading and determination. "You know where your heart belongs. You know what we've built together. Don't throw that away." Ridge looked between the two women, torn between his past and his future, his heart and his head. The weight of the decision bore down on him, threatening to crush him under its pressure. I can't do this right now," Ridge said finally, his voice breaking. "I need time to think." Taylor's shoulders sagged, but she nodded, understanding the gravity of his words. "Take all the time you need, Ridge. But know this, when you're ready to choose, make sure it's the right choice. Because once you decide, there's no going back. With that, Taylor turned on her heel and walked out of the office, leaving Brooke and Ridge alone. The silence that followed was thick with unspoken words, with fear and hope intertwined. Brooke moved closer to Ridge, placing a hand on his arm. "Ridge, you know I love you. I've always loved you. Please, don't let her come between us." Ridge looked at her, his eyes filled with conflict. "Brooke, But before he could finish, the door swung open once more, and Steffi Forrester burst into the room, her eyes wide with panic. "Mom, Dad, you need to come with me now." The urgency in Steffi's voice sent a chill down Brooke's spine. Whatever was happening, it was big, bigger than their petty squabbles, bigger than their rivalry. And for the first time in a long time, Brooke felt a pang of fear that she might lose everything she held dear. But the claws were out now, and there was no turning back. The battle lines were drawn, and only one woman would emerge victorious. The question was, who would it be?